A quiet, dark house. The only light comes from the moon through a window. The old clock on the mantelpiece strikes 12. Midnight. A young woman, Sarah, sits alone in her living room. She reads a book, but her eyes drift to the window. The house is silent. Too silent. A cold draft creeps under the door. She pulls her blanket tighter. Her cat, Midnight, sleeps curled on the armchair. Sarah loves these quiet hours, but tonight, something feels different. Outside, the wind howls softly. A tree branch taps against the glass. A rhythmic, gentle sound. Tap, tap, tap. Sarah tells herself it's just the wind. She turns a page, but her heart beats a little faster. The tapping stops. Then, a new sound starts. It comes from the kitchen. A faint clink, like glass on stone. Sarah freezes. Midnight, the cat, lifts his head. His ears swivel towards the kitchen. He does not make a sound. His eyes are wide, fixed on the darkness beyond the living room. Sarah's breath catches in her throat. She puts the book down. Her hand trembles. Another clink, closer this time. And then a soft whisper. It does not sound like the wind. It sounds like a voice. Sarah does not move. She holds her breath. Midnight jumps silently from the armchair. He creeps to the edge of the doorway, his back arches. He lets out a low, guttural growl. The whispering continues. It calls her name. Sarah. Sarah shuts her eyes tight. She wishes for morning. But the clock on the mantelpiece ticks slowly, marking the endless seconds of midnight. The whisper grows louder. The cat hisses. The whispering stops as suddenly as it begins. The silence that follows is heavier than the darkness. Sarah pushes herself up from the sofa. She grabs the heavy brass lamp from the end of the table. It feels cool in her sweaty hand. She needs to know what that sound is. Midnight. The cat moves back, retreating toward the hallway. His eyes never leave the kitchen doorway. He does not follow her. Sarah takes a slow, careful step onto the cold wooden floor. It creaks loudly beneath her weight. She wishes she wore socks. She walks toward the kitchen. The kitchen is small and brightly lit by the moon. Nothing looks out of place. The glass on the counter is just the condensation from the cold night air. The clinking sound does not make sense. She turns back to the living room. Everything is as it should be. Then she sees it, the old coat closet by the front door. The closet door does not have a lock. It is always tightly shut, but now it stands open just a crack. A sliver of black darkness slips out. Sarah's breath hitches. She walks toward the closet. Her footsteps are painfully slow. She raises the brass lamp, ready to strike. She reaches out a trembling hand and pushes the door wider. Inside, nothing waits, only coats and old umbrellas. A quiet sound escapes her lips. Relief washes over her. She laughs weakly at her own fear. She reaches to close the door, but a thought stops her. She remembers that she does not have any brass coat hooks. All the hooks in this closet are silver, but one hook, hanging exactly at eye level, is brass, and it moves. The brass hook winks at her. It does not have a coat on it. It has an eye. Sarah's breath catches in her throat. She puts the book down. Her hand trembles. Another clink. Closer this time. And then a soft whisper. It does not sound like the wind. It sounds like a voice. Sarah does not move. She holds her breath. The whispering continues. It calls her name. Sarah. Sarah shuts her eyes tight. She wishes for morning. But the clock on the mantelpiece ticks slowly, marking the endless seconds of midnight. The whisper grows louder. The cat hisses. The brass hook does not move much, just a slow, sickening rotation. The eye in its center is dark and wet. It watches Sarah. Sarah drops the brass lamp. It hits the wooden floor with a heavy, dead sound that does not echo. The silence returns, sharp and cold. She cannot scream. She wants to run, but her feet stick to the floor. She wishes desperately that she is back on the sofa reading the book. That reality is safer. The eye blinks. The mouth of the coat closet begins to grow wider. The frame of the door creaks and groans as the wood bends inward. The closet is turning into a black pit. From the hole, a long, thin object reaches out. It is not a hand. It is a finger, long, bony, and the color of old wax. It touches the nearest coat, and the coat shrivels into dust. The figure inside the darkness moves. It does not step out. It flows out, like black oil spilling onto the floor. It is tall, impossibly thin, and its body is made of shadows held together by that terrible, rotating brass eye. The figure smiles. It does not have teeth, but the movement of its mouth shows a terrible, deep emptiness. The low growl of the cat comes from the hallway. He hisses again, a sound of pure terror. The shadow advances. It does not make a sound on the floor. It glides. Sarah shuts her eyes tight, clutching her head. She tries to block out the sight. She thinks of morning, of the sun, of anything that is bright and real. The figure stops directly in front of her. It lifts the thin, waxy finger. It reaches toward her face. It says nothing. It simply waits. Sarah does not move. She holds her breath. The whisper grows louder. The cat hisses. The thin, waxy finger hovers inches from Sarah's cheek. She smells something dry and old, like forgotten paper. The silence presses down on her, hard and absolute. Then Sarah thinks of her mother. Her mother always tells her to speak the name of her fear. Sarah forces her eyes open. She looks directly at the brass eye in the center of the shadow. The sight is horrific, but she holds her gaze. She does not know its name, so she gives it one. She whispers, "Go." The shadow recoils instantly. The darkness hisses, a sound like hot oil hitting water. Midnight, the cat sees his chance. He leaps forward from the hallway, a blur of fur and pure feline fury. He claws wildly at the shadow figure's legs. The shadow screams. It is a high, thin sound that seems to break the glass in the windows, though the glass remains intact. The figure recedes rapidly toward the open closet door. Sarah reaches down. Her hand finds the heavy brass lamp she dropped. She does not hesitate. She throws the lamp with all her strength at the closet door. The lamp hits the brass eye precisely. A flash of blinding white light erupts from the closet. The light is so intense it feels like heat. The shadow vanishes completely into the black pit of the closet. The closet door slams shut with a tremendous sound. The entire house shudders. Sarah leans against the wall, shaking. She looks down at the cat, who sits quietly now, cleaning his paw. The old clock on the mantelpiece strikes. 1. The midnight hour is over. The silence is back, but this time it is a familiar, safe silence.